First, coronavirus news here in the Carolinas. Mecklenburg County is reporting its first death. The individual was 60 years old and had underlying health conditions and was at a high risk for the virus. At last check, there are 315 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Mecklenburg County. There are 1,092 cases in North Carolina with 6 deaths. South Carolina reporting 774 cases and 16 deaths. WCNC Charlotte's Lexi Wilson joins us live. Lexi, Mecklenburg County gave an update earlier this afternoon. What were the big takeaways?
Rob, definitely some unfortunate information in that press conference earlier today. The county reporting its first death due to COVID-19. The patient died this morning in the hospital. The patient was 60 years old, had significant underlying medical conditions, and likely got the virus through community spread. Health officials say around 20% of the new cases are requiring hospitalization. Also, that a high number of positive tests are still coming from the younger population. In addition, the county is asking residents to take the stay-at-home order seriously. Health Director Gibbie Harris says if you are outside, you need to maintain social distancing, and yesterday that wasn't happening.
I do believe there are individuals and businesses who are taking this very seriously and doing some incredible work to make sure that they're helping be part of the solution. But as I've mentioned, based on what we saw yesterday with the parks, with the lakes, with the sandbars, and other types of situations in our community, there are still a lot of people who are not taking it seriously. We need everyone to be part of the solution.
A good reminder for all of us that we're all in this together. Now, they also did say they could ramp up some measures if people still don't take that social distancing and stay-at-home order seriously. They also urge that if you're sick, stay at home. Reporting live for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Lexi Wilson. Rob, back to you.
All right, Lexi, thanks for that report.